So hi all aspirants and welcome to my session. So today I'll be starting off with all your NCERT classes, that is from your 6th standard to your 12th. And today I'll be starting off with your ancient Indian history of your 6th standard class. And one thing about my class is that sure enough all the portions of your NCERT syllabus will be covered, but more to that I'll be adding on few value added points also, which is very much pertinent to your civil service examinations. So let's get on to our class now. So before we get into a class, I think it's very much important for us to know what's the meaning of history is. So history is his story, someone's story in relation to the society. That is, history is always about a man and his relation to the society. Sure enough, past is considered to be history, but not all the past is considered to be history. Why is that? That is, there has to be some sort of a relevance or an impact or a difference being impacted on the society, culture, religion, or the socio-economic conditions and the political structure. Also, there has to be some sort of a decline or an inception of something. For example, your Indus Valley civilizations or the decline of Indus Valley civilizations. And your Indian history is demarcated or divided into three subcategories, that is your ancient, medieval and modern. Your ancient history starts from 5 lakh BC to 7th, 8th, 9th century AD, and your medieval starts from your 7th, 8th, 9th AD to 1757 plus. And your modern history starts from your 1757 to your present scenario that we are having right now. So this is the timeline chart of your history. So this is BC and this is AD. BC is before Christ and AD is Anno Domini. And from this point to the backward is considered to be the period before the birth of Jesus Christ. So this is a universally accepted form and we have to follow it. Sure enough, it's going to be confusing at first, especially for someone who have no background of history. But as we get on to our history sessions, it will be starting making lots of sense to us and it will seem to be more easier for us. So from here, we are going to be counting, that is 1, 2, 3 in more linear format, but from this point till here we're going to be counting everything in backwards. That is, after 300 comes 299, 298, 297 and we have 200 over here, and as we count backwards we're going to come here to 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and we have 2020 right now. So this is the basic timeline of history, and once we have a thorough understanding of this, it will be so much easier for us to understand all the history pertinent to your lessons. So we are going to learn ancient history pertinent to your Indian ancient history, not the world ancient history. We are going to study first the Indian ancient history. So here we have 5 lakh BC to AD 700. So here also we are going to have lots of subdivisions and subcategories of time periods, that is Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, Chalcolithic periods, and mostly the people over here were gatherers and hunters, and we have lots of archaeological evidences also to suffice that, and we also have lots of tribes and lots of categories of people over here, that is Nagas of Northeast, Santals of East India, Bills of Central India, Gonds of Central India, and Todas of South India, etc. Yes, and during these periods we have the civilizations, that is the most famous civilizations, Indus Valley civilizations. Also we have the decline of Indus Valley civilizations during this ancient Indian history period, and we have pre-Mauryan period, Mauryan Empire, post-Mauryan Empire and the Guptas. So these important events are considered to be under the Indian ancient history. And here we have the medieval ancient history, that is from starting 700 AD to AD 1757, and we have tripartite struggle, that is the Pratiharas, Palas and Rashtrakutas. Basically these three were superpowers and they were having a sort of like a power conflict among each other, and we have lots of invasions and attacks over here in India, that is the famous Ghazni and Ghoris. And we also have lots of South Indian kingdoms also during the medieval period and Delhi Sultanate. And one thing about medieval Indian history is that our prosperity were at its peak. That's the reason why lots of invasions and lots of attacks were during the medieval period. And one thing about all these Ghaznis and Ghoris is that Ghazni had almost 17 attacks over here in India. The reason is for plundering and looting. Why? Because India were very much prosper and rich during those period. So this is the reason why we have lots of invasions during this period. And we have modern Indian history, that is from 1757 plus. So why do we say 1757 plus? Reason is that there are lots of historians have lots of arguments among each other, that is 1757 was during the period we have the Battle of Plassey, the famous battle, and some people say no, that is not the period that has to be considered to be the starting of modern history. That is when the Mughal power was disintegrated. That is the time we have to start counting on the modern history, but sure enough it hasn't been settled, so that is the reason why we have to say 1757 plus. So here we have East India Company, and that is the East India Company. They came in here as traders, and then they started having administrative and then the political power over here in India. Colonies were set up here in India, and we have the first war of independence, that is Sepoy Mutiny in 1857, and all these freedom struggles over here, and last we get into a 1947, that is your independence. And yes, this was in short brief timelines of your Indian history, and I thought it will be very much easier before we get into ancient history. I have to give you a brief idea of what ancient, medieval and modern history is all about. So let's now get into the ancient Indian history. So here this is sources of history, that is the archaeological sources, literary sources and the other sources. Archaeological sources are something which is physical, that is all the monuments, scriptures or buildings, that's something that we can see and have a tangent effect on it. But literary sources is something that is written. For example, the Buddhist scripts or the Jainist scripts, all these Vedas that we have, and when we read it, we have a clear understanding of the socio-political conditions that were pertinent during those periods. And the secular scripts are the ones that is written reasons other than religious purposes. For example, Kautilya's Arthashastra and all these Ibn Battuta, all these travelers, when they came over here, they had a sort of like a series, they had a literary source over here, and when we read it, we have lots of account, we have lots of understandings of your ancient Indian history. And the other sources are orally passed down. For example, your Vedas, they were first initially started off as orally passed down informations, and only after that, only after lots of years, we started writing it down. And one thing about your ancient Indian history is that we have lots of archaeological sources more than the literary sources and the other sources. The reason why we say is that during the Paleolithic period, we are not even sure where the communication has been established among humans as well, and for those reasons we have to have lots of implications from the already garnered archaeological sources. For example, when you see a monument or when you see a coin, what is the understanding that we find over here? All the inscriptions when we read, and all these physical sources that we collect, when we see it, we could get into lots of implications and understandings of it. So from that we have come into conclusions and we have made certain assumptions on the basis of that. So that's how we have garnered all these informations pertinent to your ancient Indian history. So this is a brief timeline of your ancient Indian history, and over here we have 4 lakh BC to 25,000 BC, that is all these Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic and age and subcontinent. That is, I'll get into all these Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic period. Do not get worried on that. I'm just briefing you first and then getting on to the subdivisions of it first. And here we have the Indus Valley civilizations, and here we have the Vedic age, that is starting from the 1500 BC to 1000. And one thing about your categories in your history syllabus is that we have lots of subcategories among it. For example, your Harappan Valley civilizations, we have broader classifications under it. That is, we have early Harappan culture and mature Harappan culture. And even for your Vedic age, we have early Vedic age and later Vedic period. So we are going to have lots of subcategories also, so it's easier when you have all the understandings first and then getting on to the subdivisions. And then we have the Mauryan Empire, the great invasions we had, and the Gupta period, the Harshavardha Empire and the Chola Empire. And here we are going to be starting off with your medieval India. So this is the basic time periods of your ancient Indian history, that is your Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic and Chalcolithic. So here we can find is that we are prefixing the word lithic to all the categories, that is Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic and Chalcolithic. So what is the meaning of this lithic? Lithic means stone. So the reason why we are using stone as sort of like a marker for the history is that stone is the first weapon and stone is the first tool used by all the human mankind. So Paleolithic means, paleo as the word suggests is old. So Paleolithic means old stone age, and Mesolithic means microlithic. Micro means the stones during those periods started to be more pointed, more sharper, more small, more precise and unique. And Neolithic means new, so new stone age. And we have Chalcolithic period at the end. Chalco means copper, and this was a period in which both copper and stone were used together. So here in Paleolithic we can find, started off from 5 lakh BC to 10,000 BC. The archaeological evidences can be excavated from Son, Krishna Valley, Chota Nagpur Plateau, etc. And one peculiar feature that we can find from these Paleolithic period is that the weapons and the tools used by these humans were large, and pebbles were also used, and they were initially the food gatherers. That is, they were nomads and they used to travel from one place to the other in search of food, water and comfort. And one thing we have to find and understand is that what is the resources that they're after. They're not just after the food, they're also after safety, they're also after good pleasant environment and climate. So all these cavemen were gatherers of food, and where they were food they used to travel, and the clothes or the clothing that they used to have was leaves and barks, and animal skins were also used by these people, and fire was said to be discovered during Paleolithic period. And here in Mesolithic we can say that it started off from 10,000 BC to 4,000 BC. The archaeological evidences can be found in Adangmag, Bhimbetka and Bago. Bhimbetka is actually a very much famous archaeological source or location over here, and here what we can find is that the tools and weapons used by them were more microlithic. That is, all these weapons and tools used by these people were more pointed and sharper. That is, before this, that is during this Paleolithic period, humans or the nomads, they used to throw whatever stone that they used to get their hands at. And but from here, Microlithic period, they started sharpening these tools, making it more pointer in a way that they could attack all these animals. And here the Neolithic period started off from 7,000 BC to 1000 BC. The archaeological evidences could be found in Burzahum, Guskra, Chirant, Masti, Balin, Meghar and Brahmagiri. And one thing about Neolithic period is that civilization started off in the Neolithic period. That is, all your civilizations, human settlements started here in Neolithic. That is, people started to have lots of customs and traditions and practices, and the human systems were more organized and settled over here. And the tools and weapons being used by these people were oval, polished tools and antelope horns, and they were more food producers than gatherers. That is not the agriculture that we are talking about, but sort of like an immature farming they started off. And they started having pit houses. That is, other than all these Indus Valley civilization houses, we are also having pit houses in some places. That is, they'll dig certain holes over here and they'll start living inside the hole with sort of like a cover over their head. And here we can start off with all the traditions and customs. And one peculiar feature that we can find over here is that they started believing lots of traditions and rituals. That is, one we can find from these burial excavations is that the dead is being buried with lots of belongings with it. The reason is that they're having lots of superstitions, probably believing in life after death. And in some places also they are having dogs also buried along with them. And one single feature that we can find from all the burials is that it's been buried, the dead body has been buried in north-south directions. That is, the head being directed towards the north direction and the feet towards the south direction. And here during the Chalcolithic period started off from 2800 BC to 800 BC. The archaeological evidences can be found in Ahar, Jorve and Malwa. Yes, the use of both stone and copper tools are being founded over here and developed more village style. That is, during the Neolithic period, the Indus Valley civilizations were more of like an urban settlement. But here what we can find is that during Chalcolithic period, all the disintegrated, all these settlements, they started having lots of village settlements. They started, disintegrating in lots of remote areas, and they started having lots of rural village settlements. And domestication of animals also were here, and mud brick houses and burials with lots of rituals and sacrifices. So this was just a brief introduction about the Indian ancient history and all the time periods and segregated time periods of Indian ancient history. I was very sure that I was able to convey my understanding to you. And if you have any doubts or any queries regarding the same, do let me know that in the comment section. And I'll be also uploading all these PPT slides in my Telegram channel. So that's it for today's class. See you all tomorrow. Bye.